Many of you guys may know of Daphne Maxwell-Reid as the light-skinned Aunt Viv that replaced Janet Hubert, dark-skinned Aunt Viv, right?
Well, honey, you and Carlton will look out for each other, won't you?
Oh, come on, absolutely, Aunt Viv. We got each other back.
Great. You two just be careful. There are a lot of sick, demented out there.
That was the first episode, and when I love the way Will took it and said, when Jan says, "Oh, you look different since you had that baby," and Will just looked at the camera, and that's all that was said about it. We went on.
Right, because it was a different actress playing Aunt Viv, right? Absolutely.
But she is more than just that. And throughout the years, Daphne Maxwell-Reid received a lot of backlash and a lot of hate and insults and just mean comments overall for being the replacement. And it's been pitted as a light-skinned versus dark-skinned. And in today's video, I want you guys to know that Daphne Maxwell-Reid is Black excellence, and her career trajectory, like her path, her story, is very inspirational to me. And she's accomplished so much. Like I said, she is Black excellence. There's so many accomplishments that she had. Like, she was the first Black woman to be on the cover of Glamour magazine.
Yeah, well, it's been a nice career for you too, and very groundbreaking.
Yes.
You've been the first woman of color to do so many different things.
I was in the right place at the right time.
First African-American homecoming queen. Was this at Northwestern?
Northwestern University.
Wow. Well, you were also the first woman of color to appear on the cover of Glamour magazine, and this was back in 1969.
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
There you go.
Mind you, she looks a lot, well, Alicia Keys look a lot like her. She could be Alicia Keys' mother, especially during her younger days. I thought it was Alicia Keys, but that's her. She was gorgeous. But it seemed like Miss Daphne Maxwell-Reid has faced jealousy and criticism and insults since the beginning of her career, even when she was in school. She just didn't really have it as easy as people would like to say. And it's unfortunate that she experienced all that she experienced in her college years, which we're going to get into that, only to get into the industry and experience it all over from us, the viewers, us watching. Because if you're familiar with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and I were to ask you right now, without you watching the rest of this video, like, you know, before continuing the rest of the video and changing your mind, who was your favorite Aunt Viv? What would your response be? Be honest, you don't have to lie. Many of you guys will comment below that, hey, we like Janet Hubert as the Aunt Viv, the dark-skinned Aunt Viv, right? You guys will probably have something not so nice to say about Daphne Maxwell-Reid. Be honest, wouldn't you? And this has been the story for a very long time, and it's unfortunate. And I know it can be very, you feel a type of way if you've been watching a show and in mid-show, they just replace the character like that. And The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a pretty positive show we grew up watching that was part of our childhood, and so we felt like Uncle Phil was our uncle. Like, he died. When he died, a lot of people was like, oh, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. Like, we felt like he was our uncle. We felt like Aunt Viv was our aunt, you know, the dark-skinned Aunt Viv, as you'd say, quote unquote. And so when you welcome these people as part of family and you're learning lessons and taking advice and stuff like that, it feels kind of weird when they just switch them out like that. No warning, no even acknowledgement of the situation. It's just very unfortunate. And I think the person that got the worst end of the stick was Daphne Maxwell-Reid. She really, really did. And it's unfortunate, like I said, that she went through all that she went through in her college just to go through this in her career. We're going to talk about just her life. I want to highlight her life, all of her accomplishments. When I say she is Black excellence, I mean it. I mean it. She is Black excellence. She has accomplished so much and continues to do so much. You guys deserve to know her story too, who she is, because the beef with Janet Hubert and Will Smith was deeper. It had nothing to do with Daphne Maxwell-Reid. She had nothing to do with the beef. Daphne Maxwell-Reid got unwarranted hate, unnecessary hate for it, when she really had nothing to do with what they had going on. She just came in as a excellent replacement actress who has an extensive body of work of her own and wasn't chosen just casually. She wasn't casually just chosen to replace, you know? So we're gonna get into all that and more, but first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Queen Allude, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars through history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so. And if you're already subscribed, please turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's start first with her childhood, and might I add, though she's had this extensive career, she still remains pretty private, and there's not too much out there about her life or information. So Daphne Maxwell-Reid, originally Daphne Etta Maxwell, was born on July 13th, 1948 in the bustling heart of New York City. Her father, Green Maxwell, serving fizzy delights at a local drugstore, while her mother, Rosalie, was a multitasking homemaker, seamstress, and activist. Growing up with two brothers, Rodney and Kenneth, in the lively Amsterdam houses of the Upper West Side, Daphne's childhood was a vivid tapestry woven with the community bonds and Presbyterian values. She was in a Presbyterian church. From a young age, Daphne was drawn to the arts like a moth to a flame. Her junior high school years saw her singing her heart out in an all-city chorus at none other than the iconic Carnegie Music Hall. At the prestigious Bronx High School of Science, she didn't just dabble in drama, she thrived, becoming a key player in the drama club and even stepping up as class president in 1966. Daphne's flair for the dramatic led her to off-Broadway productions where she not only graced the stage in white America, but also wielded her talents as a wardrobe seamstress. Her academic brilliance shone brightly when she snagged the National Achievement Award. A college recruiter visiting her high school introduced her to Northwestern University, and with a full merit scholarship in hand, Daphne was all set for the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. Before diving into college life, she participated in the Upward Bound program, taking preparatory courses on the Evanston campus, a federal initiative aimed at lifting students from poverty into promising futures. So she did not play about her academics. Very bright young woman. At Northwestern University, Daphne Maxwell-Reid was a whirlwind of ambition and talent, juggling her studies in architecture and interior design. She balanced her time between classes, taking part in the Student Senate, and dazzling audiences in the university's famous WAMU variety show. But wait, there's more. Daphne held not one, not two, but 3 jobs. She shelved books at the university library, crunched numbers at a Loop research firm, and strutted her stuff as a model. She was very hardworking. Her modeling gigs often whisked her away to New York, where she graced ads in the New York Times and Mademoiselle. Daphne's modeling career skyrocketed after a 1967 feature in 17 magazine caught the eye of the prestigious Eileen Ford modeling agency. And by 1969, she shattered glass ceilings as the first African-American woman to appear on the cover of Glamour magazine, a historic achievement that turned heads and captured hearts. Winning the crown as the university's first African-American homecoming queen catapulted her into the spotlight, landing her on the cover of Jet magazine in a feature about Black beauty queens at white schools. So she was the first African-American homecoming queen at her school. Can you imagine? At Northwestern University. Jet magazine highlighted her as one of the only 63 Black students in a sea of 6,000 undergraduates. How excellent is that? Put some flower emojis in the comments for her. Give her her flowers, okay? Unlike others, Daphne's nomination wasn't driven by a Black student group, making her victory all the more remarkable and controversial. It was actually the white students who nominated her that made her beauty queen, right? And this, of course, made the Black students feel away. They started labeling her like as Oreo, if you'd say. The term Oreo wasn't there yet, but that's just what I'm saying. Like, she was a white depiction of Black excellence. I don't want to flat out label it as jealousy, so I want you guys to comment below what you think it was. But they were not happy that she was the first beauty queen. And the fact that it was the other white students that was elevating her upset the Black community in her school. They just didn't want to support her. The university's lukewarm reaction to her win was heartbreaking. She wasn't even named in the yearbook. Can you imagine not being named in the yearbook? They tried to erase her from the history of the university, and this left a bitter taste in her mouth for years to come. She did end up mending it, but for years to come, okay? Prompting Daphne to step away from Northwestern for decades. Jealousy was something Daphne dealt with her whole life, and I can't even imagine. She only reconnected with the university in 2008. That's when she finally reconnected with the university again. Her triumph was labeled by some of her peers, like fellow student Vernon Ford, as an illusion of progress. Ouch. They didn't want to give her no credit. I was like, it's just an illusion of progress. Her accomplishment was nothing to really celebrate. No one really wanted to celebrate her. But Daphne wasn't just a model and student. She was also an activist. In May 1968, she joined a powerful 38-hour sit-in at the Bussard's office organized by the Afro-American Student Union and for members only, demanding change and shaking up campus policies for African-American students. And though she was rejected by her peers, this did not stop her from fighting for them. This reminds me of Lena Horne, which I did a video for, and I'll pin that in the comments so you guys can go check it out. Even though your peers reject you, you're still fighting for them. In the midst of all of this, Daphne's personal life saw a twist of its own. In her junior year, she married Robert Tubbs, a Northwestern graduate and football player destined for a professional career in West Virginia. Her modeling success opened doors to TV commercials and acting workshops, where she trained under the legendary Robert Hooks of the Negro Ensemble Company. This led to her professional acting debut off Broadway in The Skin of Our Teeth as the audacious Sabina. In 1973, Daphne spun the decks as a disc jockey at Chicago WLS radio station. Her television debut came with a recurring role alongside Robert Conrad and The Duke, paving the way for guest spots on popular shows like Cagney and Lacey, Hill Street Blues, and WKRP in Cincinnati. She even added a touch of glamour to the Whispers music video in 1980. The year 1979 marked a personal turning point as Daphne and her first husband Robert Tubbs parted ways. But as one door closes, another opened. In the vibrant world of stand-up comedy, she crossed paths with Tim Reid. Their chemistry simmered until they reconnected in Los Angeles, and in 1982 they tied the knot, with Daphne adopting the name Daphne Maxwell-Reid. And I didn't even know they were married for the longest time. When I found out, I was so geeked. And they played a scene in Tia Tamara where she was chasing him down and he was all uninterested. And it's funny because they were actually married.
While we're waiting for dinner, may I offer you some Chardonnay? I mean, Chardonnay.
Either one would be fine with me. You are going to have to loosen up. Let's start with this tie. So, dear, I'm picking up some very strange signals. I can't imagine how it could be possible, but are you and Ray dating?
Well, no, not yet, but we...
That's what I thought. Take some advice from me, dear. Aim lower.
Is that low enough?
So we lived together in sin for 2 years. Then he left me.
Well, you were not a nice person at that time.
He quit me, and I didn't know it. So he went away to Spain.
Wait, you didn't know it?
No, I didn't know
When
it.
someone leaves and says, I'm not coming back till you're gone, I think that's a clue.
Right. He did it 3 or 4 times. He always came back. I thought he was coming back this time, too.
This time I really left, and I went to Spain. And when I came back from Spain, a miserable trip in Spain, I was shooting something down there. Came back, and she surprised me by coming to the airport, to Kennedy Airport. And I was so happy to see her that as I was clearing customs, I proposed to her.
He gave me 48 hours to change my mind after I said yes.
Looking for loopholes.
Together, the Reids founded Tim Love Enterprise in Richmond, Virginia, an entertainment powerhouse where Daphne still serves as vice president. Daphne lifted up the screen from 1983 to 1987 as Temple Hill and Simone, starring opposite her husband. Her most acclaimed role came as Hannah Griffin in Frank's Place, a project she worked on with Tim, the show's mastermind. The couple became synonymous with charm and charisma, co-hosting various parades and award shows and solving crimes as a dynamic duo on Snoops. From 1990 to 1991, they co-hosted the talk show Tim and Daphne on WMAR in Baltimore, delighting audiences with their wit and charm. Daphne's fame skyrocketed in 1993 when she stepped into the iconic role of Aunt Vivian Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, replacing Janet Hubert Whitten, playing Will Smith's beloved Aunt Viv until the show's finale in 1996. She etched her place in television history, forever remembered as a key figure in the Banks family saga, and we already talked about the drama with that. Between 1994 and 1997, Daphne Maxwell-Reid and her husband Tim decided to swap the Hollywood lifestyle for the rustic charm of Virginia, embracing life as gentlemen farmers. They purchased a quaint plot of land complete with farm animals to escape the spotlight and savor the serenity of country living. In 1997, the dynamic duo launched New Millennium Studios, Virginia's first full-service film studio. The Showtime series Lynx became its inaugural project, airing from 1998 to 2000. The studio in Petersburg soon buzzed with activity, hosting major productions like Steven Spielberg's Lincoln and the Reid's own films such as Asunder and For Real. After nearly 2 decades of cinematic magic, they sold the studio in 2015. Not one to rest on her laurels, Daphne continued to dazzle on screen in the 2000s. Her recurring role as Frances Hunter in Eve earned her an Emmy nod in 2006. She also lent her voice to projects like Active Parenting of Teens and the documentary Living in a Food Desert. In 2012, she brought her charisma to PBS as the host of Virginia Currents. Daphne's flair for fashion is stitched into her DNA thanks to her mother, who taught her to sew at an urban opportunity center. This skill came in handy when she crafted her own dress in just 3 hours before winning Northwestern's 1967 Homecoming Queen title.
I've been sewing since I was 9 years old. I finally got brave enough to take a pair of scissors and cut a piece of fabric without regard as to what it will look like. It's been very exciting. For Simon & Simon last year, I made most of the things that I wore on the show. Now I'm going to start making more men's clothes and hopefully get a men's line out.
And she can make things out of stuff. You know, I'll go, "You can wear that?" And she said, "Sure, do this." And she'll have a knot somewhere, and I'll go, "That works. I wouldn't wear it, but it works."
Be sure to check out Daphne Maxwell-Reid. And she does designing, too. She designed the coat that she's wearing. We didn't even get into that. Make sure you check her out at daphnemaxwellreid.com just to keep up with all of her whereabouts.
An accomplished designer, she often sewed her audition outfits and shared her passion with Daphne Maxwell-Reid. Her QVC debut was a hit, selling 1,500 units in just 1 hour. She expanded her fashion empire with the Daphne Maxwell-Reid collection for the McCall Pattern Company and now offers bespoke creations under the brand Daphne Style. In 2012, Daphne Maxwell-Reid ventured into a new artistic realm with her captivating photography series, Doors, showcasing stunning prints from her globe-trotting adventures. In 2017, she spiced up the literary world with her cookbook, Graceful Soul and Mother Wit, blending delicious recipes with personal anecdotes through her own Timolove publishing. She also said she loves to entertain figures at her home and cook for them, etc. So she loves to cook. That's one of her hobbies. Her artistic flair continues to shine with Daphne Maxwell-Reid Fresh Prints, offering an array of signed digital prints, note cards, and books. Daphne also loves to travel. She is very well traveled, especially with her and her husband. That's one thing that they love to do together.
Home is where the heart is, but Tim, Daphne, and the family are ever seeking new vacation thrills.
We travel a great deal. Every year we go somewhere in the world.
He used to laugh because he said, and I'd be packed.
Yeah, she'd be at the door. Those experiences have brought us close together because we share a lot of things. We do a lot of things together. We've been to Europe together. I think it gives an opportunity to see someone outside of their environment react to certain circumstances, and you get a certain respect for them and that's how they handle themselves.
Daphne remains a vibrant face in her Petersburg, Virginia community and nearby Richmond, wielding influence and charm in various roles. Her community service sparkles on the board of the Pittsburgh Library Foundation, the Pittsburgh Area Art League, and the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities. She has also graced the Richmond Forum and served as secretary of the board of visitors for Virginia State University. Her eloquence captivated audiences at Randolph-Macon's college commencement speech in 2012, and she even embarked on a whirlwind tour of Western Europe in 2009, visiting U.S. military bases with the Armed Force Entertainment Group. A trailblazer in every sense, Daphne returned to Northwestern University in 2006 to receive a Hall of Fame award from the Black Alumni Association. 2 years later, she revisited the campus for the 40th anniversary of the 1967 Bursar's office takeover and received a heartfelt apology from President Henry Buchanan for past grievances. In 2010, she added yet another accolade to her name, becoming an honorary member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Daphne Maxwell-Reid and her husband, Tim Reid, continue to thrive in Richmond, Virginia. Their family flourishes with 3 grown children, Tim Jr. and Tori from Tim's previous marriage, and Christopher Tubbs from Daphne's marriage to the late Robert Tubbs. Daphne's life is a masterclass in artistry, community, and resilience, continually turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. She is Black excellence and doesn't deserve not even a fraction of the insults the public puts her way. And I think this is why she deserves some flowers. So put some flowers in the comments for her. Show some love. Say something positive, because I'm sure she's heard enough negativity, all because of a role. Comment below your thoughts on this. Who else would you guys like me to do a video for? I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.